right, folks, we have a very difficult few weeks coming up. Well, let's just talk between now and New Year's Day. We're moving into Capricorn season, so the sun is going to move into the domain of Saturn. Now, Saturn is approaching a square with Jupiter retrograde, and because Jupiter is in its detriment and it's retrograde, it's very debilitated right now. And Saturn will have the upper hand basically in this square that's happening. So this restriction and authority and lessons, things of that nature, are going up against that expansion of the mind, expansion of ideas. This has been playing out as like just a lot of information roaming around your head, just consistently. A lot of information has been just kind of been thrown on us, and it's just a very contradictory type of information that is likely to be used by people in positions of authority to confuse that Saturn is in Pisces, and in that harsh aspect there's a real potential for there to be lies, manipulation, and confusion used from that authoritative standpoint. Also just confusion in general, like we may even see some things happen that we just don't know what to make of it as well. The sun is going to make a T-square with the nodes. This is kind of like a moment of fate, crossroads type of energy, kind of, where it's like we don't really know which direction we're going, what we want to do. Do we want to stay where we're at? Do we want to move backwards? Do we want to move forward? Do we want to be our authentic selves? This is going to be kind of a difficult one as well, especially with Mars, the ruling planet of the North Node, being retrograde in Leo. There's a lot of lashing out from ego that's happening right now. We're going to be seeing that continue and just continue to build. And this square to the nodes could exasperate that. And we could see more and more people out in the world start lashing out just because they want to be heard, because they feel like they're being shut down. Maybe they're finding out they're wrong and they don't want to admit that they're wrong, things of that nature. We have Mercury now direct, moving back into an opposition with Jupiter. That was December 4th that the last opposition was, and we know what happened in New York on that day. Not saying something like that's going to happen again, but we may see more information about that come out at that time as well. Mars is moving into an opposition with Pluto. So on New Year's Day, that will be triggered off by the moon in conjunction with Pluto. This has an explosive type of feel to me. This, like, the people trying to gain control in an opposition with, like, angry people acting out of their ego, out of trying to be seen, trying to be heard, right? And with the Mars being in Leo, that means that the sun is ruling it, and the sun in Capricorn, this is going back to that nature of people in positions of authority, CEOs, government officials, things of that nature, kind of trying to fight back against the people trying to take control. We're seeing a lot of power struggles between different groups, and trying to get anything done is like it's just not happening. We are seeing this destruction of things that are holding back humanity, the community, people in general, just groups as a whole. Looking at this, I'm not feeling super confident that there will be a continuing resolution here in the U.S. We may actually see a government shutdown this time, and it would be by about New Year's that it really kind of starts settling in with people, because in the government realm, most folks take the between Christmas and New Year's off, so it'll hit them, but it'll like take a minute for it to really settle, because they were normally going to take that time off anyway. So I think that's where we're going to start to see a lot more information come out, but an attempt to confuse that information, an attempt to keep it as like shallow and contradictory as possible. The other thing that's happening that caught my attention is Pluto is going to make its third and final trine to the United States midheaven if you use the Sibley chart. And I did look back to the first 2 times, and the first one was the second balloon, where they said, we don't know what it is, but it's not a threat. That sounds familiar. The second time was at a certain incident in Butler, Pennsylvania. So it's very much got this like trying to use distraction, trying to use communication, trying to create a sense of uneasiness with that Uranus ruling Pluto in Aquarius from Taurus, shaking things up, making you question your values, making you feel uncomfortable, right? This is hard as far as the collective goes. Personally, we can use this in a whole lot of other ways. Things just tend to play out in the more negative manner on the collective scale, just because people don't like to practice self-awareness and they're just reactive. But on a personal level, this is a lot of energy to work with, to actually create change in your life, to be able to navigate these things a lot better, like as they come up out in the collective. It's going to be hard no matter what, but it's less hard, just a little bit less hard, if you're preparing for it and you're understanding yourself and your goals and where you belong a little better. So if you're wanting to understand how this might affect you and what the best ways for you to work with it is, shoot me a message and we can set up a reading for you. But yeah, collectively, just be prepared that we're going to see a lot of things get very confusing. Our sense of security is really being tested at the moment. So that's just going to kind of keep going until we get tired of it and do something.